Well, hey everybody, this is Bill with Live Simple, Live Free, and this is part 3 of building our raised bed gardens. At the end of the last video, I had 2 of these built. I'm ready to build the other 2. I'm not going to show you that because I've already showed you how I did the one. It's just more of the same. But before I started that, I just wanted to show you how I'm laying this out so everything's straight. So I used strings on the layout of these first 2 to make sure they're completely lined up. And then for these next 2, I'm using another string, and what I did was I measured from there to here, and at the other end from there to there, to make sure these are actually parallel and straight with those. So I'll line up both of these on this string, and then I also used the string the other direction. You can see the string right here. I ran it from there so that this end will be lined up straight with that. And that'll make sure that all 4 of these beds are all straight and parallel with each other. It would really look sloppy if I didn't do this and some of the beds were, you know, kitty wampers out of sync with the others. But this will make them all nice and straight. So I'm going to go ahead and finish these other 2. I'm not going to put them on film. I'll come back when I get those 2 done. Okay, so you can see that I now have all 4 of these beds built. So now I'm ready to put the rebar and the concrete in there. Okay, I talked pretty much at length in the last video about what I'm doing here, but let me just touch on it real briefly in case you didn't see that, or you can go back to watch video 2 for a more thorough discussion. I did not put mortar in between these blocks because there's no frost footer underneath and they could heave and then the mortar would break up, so I didn't want to do that. I just laid the blocks right on there. But now I'm concerned that once I put the dirt in here, the pressure, the weight would actually push the walls apart because they're just laying here. The blocks are just laying here. So what I'm going to do is probably every 4th hole, I'm going to drop a piece of rebar down in there and fill that hole with concrete. And I think that'll lock everything in place. So that it won't move from the weight of the dirt, but it also won't crack from the frost heave because there's a lot of movement between those pillars of concrete that I put in here. So that's the plan. So I got this rebar. It's 1/4 inch rebar, and it's a 10 foot, or I guess an 8 foot piece. I need to cut it into pieces 22 inches long to fit down into the hole there. Now I gotta cut a whole bunch of these. So now it's time to start mixing up the concrete and filling the holes. And normally I don't do much concrete work, so normally when I do this kind of thing I have to mix it up in a wheelbarrow with a hoe, and that's real slow, time consuming, back breaking. Fortunately, Barry has a cement mixer. How cool is that? So I'm going to be able to do it considerably faster and considerably easier with this mixer.
How much those bags weigh?
80 pounds.
80 pounds.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
I pour in some water and then half the bag, and then I start it and pour the rest in. there is to it.
Wow. So you just kind of know about how much water you need and to make it the right consistency.
Yeah, well, I start out with some water and then I put the mix in, and then I add just a little bit more until it's about right. This is big enough to actually mix several bags at a time, but then this is real heavy.
Yeah.
And you see how long that took me, maybe 3 minutes.
That's awesome. Wow. That's cool that you threw the empty bag in that big empty bed so it doesn't blow away today.
Yeah, the wind's blowing it all over the place. So I put it in there so it won't blow away, and then I can clean it up later.
Sure.
Coming along.
That really makes it strong, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Got one piece of rebar down in there.
Okay. That reinforces it.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, cool. Boy, it's seriously cool that Barry has that cement mixer.
Oh, absolutely. It's saving me hours and a lot of back breaking work, mixing it all in a wheelbarrow by hand. It takes me about 3 minutes to mix up a bag of cement.
Awesome.
All right.
Another gorgeous sunny day out here.
So I've got this all put together. I don't have any of the concrete in here yet. And you see that it's all loose. If you bang into it when the dirt's there and pushing out, it could all move. I don't like that. Rebar. Concrete. But then here on this corner, I already have the concrete poured in there, and as you can see, that's not going anywhere. It's nice and solid. I feel much better about that. But there's still places here where it can move because there's no mortar in between.
Well, I would much rather stay out here in the sunshine and sit out here with you and everything, but I got to get in and get something. I got to finish that editing. I'm trying to get it done today.
Well, I'd much rather be in there editing, but I got to stay out here and finish this. Okay, so I finally got all of the concrete poured in all the holes. So now I just need to put the 4-inch cap blocks on top. They're not going to be fastened down, they're just going to be laying there. And they're heavy because they're solid and the weight will keep them in place. Now I've had a number of people, quite a lot of people actually, tell me that I need to put metal screening down here in the bottom before I fill it with dirt to keep critters from going up underneath, voles and moles and other things like that, to keep them from coming up underneath and eating all the roots, especially I guess of the root vegetables. I had never thought of that. I didn't know anything about that. And as I thought about it, I just didn't see why that would really be an issue. I'm just skeptical that that's going to be an issue. But you know, I thought if I'm ever going to do that, now's the time. Because obviously once I get the dirt in there, I won't be able to do it anymore. And then we were talking to a friend of ours who lives not far from here, who's also giving us advice. And she's got quite a few raised beds. She doesn't have them as high as ours are, but she's got quite a few of them. And she said that she has had problems with moles in the past coming up underneath and doing exactly what people are telling me about. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and put that metal in before I put the dirt in. And I want to thank you guys that told me about that, because I didn't have a clue. I'd never heard anything about that. But I'm going to do it right. If I'm going to do all of this and all of this expense, I'm going to do it right. Now I'm here at Lowe's looking for the metal that'll work for the bottom of this. And this stuff right here is used to lay down on the gravel before you pour a concrete slab, and this reinforces the slab, keeps the slab from cracking. This would work, except that these holes are way too big. Small rodents could come up through there. So I need to find something with smaller holes. The only other thing I could find that would work is this stuff. This is actually used to attach brick or stonework to the front of a wall. If you want to face the outside, like the front of your house, with brick, you attach this to the wooden wall with nails, and then you'd use thin brick like this to smear the mud onto here and then attach that, and that's what holds the brick to the wall. Of course, I'm not doing brick, but this will work perfectly for the bottom of my raised beds to keep the rodents out. So I'll be putting the metal in the bottom, and the inside opening here is 4 feet. So of course half of that is 2 feet. And for my metric friends, 2 feet is 24 inches. This is 27 inches. So if I lay them two side by side, there'll be a 3-inch overlap, which is about that big. So this is a little longer than I need, and I got a metal cutting blade for my skill saw, and I was going to cut it off. And then I realized, oh, I can just bend this over and let it run up the walls a little bit. It'll be fine. Here's the metal laying in the bottom, and it's folded up on the end. There's actually 6 inches of overlap here because each one is 3 inches wider than half. So I think this is going to work well to keep the rodents out. So now I got all the cinder block done. I really like the way it looks, especially with this cap on the top. I got the metal in there to protect the bottom. So the next thing is I'm going to put in wood, like firewood, dead logs and branches and things, and then to use as filler, and then fill it up with topsoil, and then the top foot or so will have compost and things mixed in with it. But I'm going to do all that in the next video. So look for video 4 coming soon. I hope you're enjoying this process. Thanks for watching. Live simple, live free, you be blessed.